Welcome to Malifaux University. 101. What you will need to play Malifaux. In this video, we discuss the specific gear you will need to play Malifaux and how that may be different from some other games you might have played. First, you need a copy of the rulebook. If you bought the 2-player starter set, it comes with a basic rulebook, which the 100 series of videos will explain. Once you are familiar with this basic play format, you should download the comprehensive rules guide from the link in the video notes, which takes you to the Wyrd Games website. Those more detailed rules will unlock the full Malifaux experience and explore all the options your models present. A Fate deck. You won't need dice to play Malifaux, but you will need a deck of cards for each player. The elements of chance in this game are resolved by flipping cards from a deck, which means that sooner or later your luck will change for the better or for the worse as you go through the deck. Wyrd makes several different Fate decks emblazoned with artwork and the 4 suits of Malifaux: rams, tomes, masks, and crows. The starter box comes with 2 Fate decks, one for each player. If you don't have an official Fate deck, you can use a regular deck of 54 playing cards, including the 2 jokers. And remember that rams are hearts, tomes are clubs, masks are diamonds, and crows are spades. Write that down on a sticky note and keep it by the table, and you're good to go. Models and stat cards. Malifaux is a 2-player game, and each player needs a set of models called a crew. Technically, you can each have a set of the same models, but it's more fun if you each use a different crew. The starter box has 2 crews, the Ampersand crew in the Outcast faction and the Banished crew in the Neverborn faction. Most other boxes you can buy have 6 or 7 models that approximately equal one another in terms of strategic strength and value. You can add more models to increase the size of your crew as long as you and your opponent have crews that are nearly the same strength. More about this later. Each model also has a stat card that explains its abilities and powers. You can use physical cards, the Malifaux Crew Builder app, or a combination of both. If you buy new models, they'll come with their stat cards. If you're buying older models, or if your stat cards get updated, you can always find the current cards at the link in the notes below. Tokens. Most of the ways models can affect one another and the game are represented by tokens. Does your model set another one on fire? It gets a burning token. Does your model take an action to plan out its next move? Gain an adaptable or focus token. If you put your model's stat cards in plastic sleeves, you can write on those sleeves with erasable markers, but you always run the risk of smudging the writing, staining your sleeves, or covering up the text printed on the cards. We recommend you make physical tokens, and you can download printable tokens from the Wargames Vault for every faction and crew in the game from the link in the notes below. A tape measure. The table in Malifaux is marked in feet and inches, and you'll need a way of measuring them. Most players use a small, flexible tape measure. Small rulers or specialized game measuring widgets are also available, like the 2 that came in the starter box. Beware of using large, heavy-duty tape measures from a hardware store, as they are often too rigid and wide to be easily used and could damage a model if dropped during gameplay. While not required, I strongly encourage you to get a line-of-sight laser pointer like this one from Army Painter. You shine it down on the table to help determine line of sight, and it makes the game go much faster. I'll take a brief moment now to thank all those who were patrons at the time this video was made, especially Mats by Mars, Griff, Sergey, Tom, Alan, Jason, Jeremy, Mikolai, Oleg, and Travis, and many more at the free student tier. Your support is essential to bringing these videos to life. Strategy and scheme cards. Malifaux uses an evolving objective format to determine each player's goals throughout a game. You start off with one shared objective called the strategy that both players will work to achieve throughout the game. Each player also has a single scheme they try to secretly score points for. Once they fulfill that scheme, they choose a new scheme, repeating as often as they can. It will be handy for both players to have their own set of scheme cards to facilitate scheme selection and reference throughout the game. This collection of cards is called Gaining Grounds and will be updated annually in the fall. Markers. Markers go on the table to represent dead bodies, special terrain, and ways you intend to score points. You usually cannot have more than 5 markers of any particular type, so you'll need at least 5 remains markers for when your models are killed, 5 scheme markers you might use for certain schemes, and up to 10 strategy markers depending on which strategy you and your opponent are playing. These are included in the starter box and are also available from the same link to Wargames Vault in the notes. Lastly, you'll need something to take notes with. Many of the schemes and strategies involve selecting a specific model to interact with, a certain piece of terrain on the table, or something like that. You'll want to write this down for easy reference throughout the game. It's best to use a notepad so you don't have to fumble with your phone, and paper never runs out of power. You'll also need a table and some terrain, but we'll get to that in another video. That's what you need to play Malifaux. Pick up a printable set of all the markers and tokens you need to play Malifaux in the Wargames Vault. If you haven't already, join our Patreon for early ad-free access to all new long-form content, and be sure to visit the Malifaux University gift shop for the latest in Malifaux-themed shirts, hoodies, drinkware, and more. Links are in the notes below. And remember, play friendly games, keep it simple, and have fun.